You can call me Mystic Mike because I predict these things.
Jared Gordon takes on Mashrabjon Ruzibaev this Saturday on the preliminary card of UFC Fight Night Rodrigues versus Cannonier. And this is a fight that's been a few days in the making. Jared Gordon was originally supposed to fight, I think his name was Cal Fernandez, who recently dropped out of the fight due to visa issues. So we've got Mashrabjon Ruzibaev stepping in to take on Jared Gordon. He accepted the fight yesterday on Monday to fight this Saturday. So very, very interesting. Jared Gordon, 36 years old, veteran of the game, been in the UFC since 2017. So about 7 or 8 years now, fighting very good opponents if you look through his record. 5'9", 68-inch reach at lightweight. So good boxing, good wrestling, mixes it up very well. Great cardio. Pushes a high pace, puts a lot of pressure on guys to break them. Like I said, lots of experience. He's fighting Diego Ferreira, Joaquim Silva, Charles Oliveira. You might have heard of some of these guys. Grant Dawson, Paddy Pimblett, Bobby King Green, Nasrat Haqparast. So a lot of elite level competition. He's kind of gotten the short end of the stick in his career. That Paddy Pimblett fight, I think we can all agree that he more than likely won that fight. And then right after that, he fought Bobby Green, and I think I can't remember what it was. I think it was a legal foul that put him out. But just kind of one setback after another, where I feel like his career would be on a different trajectory after beating Paddy Pimblett if he would have got that win, with him being so highly touted in the division. But like I said, mixes in his striking with his takedowns. Kind of uses one to open up the other. Absolute dog, super tough. Willing to stand in the pocket and trade with anybody. So just puts on very exciting fights. Getting up there in age, 36 years old, taking a lot of damage. Like I said, that King Green fight, although it wasn't a loss, it was still a bad knockout. Been knocked out by Charles Oliveira, Joaquim Silva, Diego Ferreira. These were all in pretty close succession about 5 or 6 years ago. So hate to see the damage that he's taken in his fights, but then again, he is still super tough and defensively responsible. So still has, I think, a bright future in the lightweight division. We move on to Mashrabjon Ruzibaev. He is the brother of, I think it's Nursultan Ruzibaev, the dude who's like 6'5" and fights at welterweight or 185. I'm taking this fight on very short notice. Normally fights at welterweight. Everywhere I look shows that this fight's at lightweight, so I'm not sure how he's going to make weight unless he was training for a different fight. But then again, you're trying to cut an additional 15 pounds. I wouldn't be surprised if Jared Gordon just took it at a catchweight or took it at welterweight just to get the fight, which would make sense. But even then, taking a fight on, even in your normal weight class, taking a fight on 5-6 days notice is kind of crazy, especially given this guy's physique. He's 5'11", but just has a beer belly. Just doesn't look like the most disciplined athlete who fights in a cage for a living. Throws heavy right hands, has got a lot of power, just doesn't look very polished, looks kind of just sloppy at times. Like I said, has a beer belly, doesn't have the best cardio from the fights that I've been able to find on YouTube. Accepted the fight yesterday. You look at his record, he hasn't fought the best competition in the world. 8-9-1, 20-11, 12-17 going to a decision with that guy. 16-14, and then we drop all the way down to a 2-0, 0-2, 0-0. Like, if you're 15-4 or whatever you are, why are you fighting somebody who's 0-0 or 2-0? Doesn't make any, or 22-22, like one of these guys only 3 or 4 years ago. Just doesn't make any sense. So I think you can kind of see where I'm going with this one. I don't think this is a good recipe for success for a newcomer coming into the UFC. The deck is kind of stacked against him, against a really good veteran in Jared Gordon, who, you know, may not have the best record, but still a really good record, 20-7. But he's been fighting absolute savages his entire career. Well, this guy's been fighting 0-7 bums on the regional scene. 0-7, this guy was. It's like no wonder his record is 24-1 with the way that he fights. So odds aren't that crazy though. Jared Gordon's like a -185 favorite, but I'd be shocked if this guy caught Jared Gordon and beat him. I wouldn't be shocked, I guess, because this dude hits really hard, and Jared Gordon has shown he doesn't have the best chin, but I think Jared Gordon can outlast this guy long enough, just with his grit, his toughness, his cardio, and his style, to kind of take this guy into the deep waters and drown him. Can't imagine he's in the best shape, or as good of shape as Jared Gordon coming off of a full fight camp. So I got to default to the guy who was planning the fight, who's been in the UFC. There's going to be no jitters for him. Last opponents were the best in the world versus this guy who, it's kind of pathetic. Like a lot of the guys he's fighting barely or don't even have winning records. So this guy hasn't fought either since October of 2023. So taking a fight on 6 days' notice, hasn't fought in over a year in a weight class that isn't his own. Just kind of a recipe for success, or for disaster, not success. So I'm gonna go with Jared Gordon in this one. I think he can get the finish. I think he can beat him up on the feet, wear him out, get his takedowns, and finish with ground and pound, maybe even a submission. But I do think he gets this one done. I'm gonna be really upset if he doesn't, if he gets knocked out by this guy who shouldn't be in there with him. But pretty confident that Jared Gordon gets this one done by TKO to ground and pound. So let me know what you guys think. Appreciate you watching.